Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Thanks for joining me today. For those who are new, my name's Sean, also known as Film Guru, and I started this channel having my particular style movies and a variety of other film content, so thanks for joining me. I want to apologise, it's been so long since I've done a video. It's just where I live is very hard to do these videos now, so I haven't done them for quite some time. But I've had this ability to do them now, and this is what I really want to do. I want to start doing these videos again because I really enjoyed doing them. Today I'm reviewing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It was directed by Joaquim Dos Santos, Kemp Powers and Justin K. Thompson. It's once again voiced by Hailee Steinfeld, Shameik Moore, Jake Johnson. Also joining the cast is Oscar Isaac, Daniel Kaluuya and Karan Soni. The film once again focuses on Miles Morales. After reuniting with Gwen Stacy, Brooklyn's full-time, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is catapulted across the multiverse, where he encounters a team of spider-like people charged with protecting its very existence. However, when the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles finds himself pitted against other spiders. He must soon redefine what it means to be a hero so he can save the people he loves most. As a rule, I'm not really a big, huge fan of animated films. It has to be a particular story or elements in that I enjoy for me to enjoy those. But every now and again an animated film comes out I didn't really enjoy, and I was really impressed with this. I thought the first one was okay. There was a lot going on. It was a bit chaotic for my brain to comprehend what was happening a lot of the time. And the animation was new and different, and I couldn't quite get a grasp upon it. Where this film, I really felt like they've really captured the animation really well, and they deliver such a very fascinating film that is a continuation of the first movie in a really great way, but it's also adding in new elements. We're introduced to new Spider-Men and Spider characters that we didn't see in the first film, which I really loved. Oscar Isaac's character, Miguel O'Hara, is kind of an interesting and more darker character to the rest of the Spider-Man. He kind of feels more like Batman in a way, and in this sort of world, there's a darkness to him, but there's a light as well, and he just wants to protect the things that he loves. What I think was really great about this film was that it opens up on Gwen Stacy. So it didn't start with Miles Morales, and I kind of like that. We get to see Gwen Stacy's world, and we get to see what she was doing before she ultimately runs into Miles again, like in the post-credit scene of the first film. And we see her life, we see her relationship with her father, and this conflict that happens, and we see what happens to the Peter Parker in her world. And I really loved all of this. I thought this was really great. It gave a good sense of who she was and what happened to her. She sort of does a bit of a recap of what transformed her into this like a spider kind of woman, and we sort of get more of a sense of who she is as a person, and I loved that. And then we sort of thrust her into the film through her, where she ultimately joins other Spider-Man to make sure things unfold as they should. Then we skip to Miles Morales, and we're introduced to him once again, and he's grown a little bit, and he's still the fun Spider-Man that we saw at the end of the first film. Then we're introduced to a new villain called Spot, voiced by Jason Schwartzman. And this is an interesting and odd character that ultimately feels like it's going to play a bigger part in the second film, with more of an introduction to him rather than him playing a big part in the film. And I kind of like the way they did that, and there's a lot of humour in regards to this character and Miles as well. But it's ultimately when him and Gwen Stacy come back together and they go on this adventure together that he doesn't feel alone anymore, and feels like he's part of something, and he's introduced to this spider world, Spider-Verse, whatever you want to call it. And we get to see there's so many different varieties of Spider-Men and women in this sort of world, which is the first time I've really seen that. I know that we've had with Spider-Man No Way Home, like we had, you know, the other Spider-Mans come into that, but this just felt sort of like it broadened things in a much bigger way. And they had this great way of doing animation and live action with a variety of other Spider-Mans in the movies, and I loved that. I thought that was really inventive and interesting, and I just like the journey the characters go on. What I kind of always liked about Spider-Man, especially the new Spider-Man, is he's only really interesting when he's up against it. when no one is there to support him, where everybody judges him. He feels like he has to do everything himself, and I kind of like that. That makes him a far more interesting character, in my opinion, than just sort of smart-ass kind of usual Spider-Man. It kind of makes it much more refreshing and interesting. The film really looks at timelines and looks at how a lot of them believe things have got to unfold as they should, but doesn't necessarily always make that true. The action sequences are really well done in it and captured. There's a whole sequence where he's being chased by the Spider people, and I really loved that. That was a really great sequence. And it just really shows this young guy is and who he's trying to be. And he's trying to juggle life and being Spider-Man, and we know how difficult that is for the other Spider-Man incarnations we've seen on screen. There's a likability to Miles. You do care for him and for his family, and you feel like you want him to succeed no matter what he does. What I also loved is the visual style. It's like a moving piece artwork. It's so beautifully captured and so many vivid colors and choices made. With his sequences where they're able to stand on walls and they stand underneath this thing, Gwen Stacy and Miles, and we see the world upside down. We see it from their point of view. I thought this was really inventive and interesting, and I really love the vibrant colors and the choices of color palettes, and how there's different animation for different Spider-Man. And I thought that was really great. And we're introduced to so many more interesting ones in that sort of style. And there's a moment too in the film where the Spot character is ultimately able to see in other universes. And we get different varieties of Spider. By far my favorite is a Lego version. The Lego scene in this film is hilarious, and I loved it so much. I thought it was so well done and very, very funny. And I would love a Lego Spider-Man film. I think that would be great. The film takes chances, and I like the choices that it makes. And I like that it isn't a clean-cut ending. It ends on a cliffhanger in a way to lead into the next film, and I thought this was a really great choice and really daring. It sets up interesting things, interesting characters. It's just a really wonderful and vivid and beautiful kind of world that's created here, and I really felt swept up in it. My only issue with the film, as I've learned a lot of people are having the same thing happen, is at the start when we're introduced to Gwen Stacy again. The audio is really bad. It's very quiet, and you can't really make out much of what's happening. And apparently that was to do with a mix of it or something, but then obviously when we get to Miles it picks up again. But I just feel like that let the start down a bit. I missed some stuff because I couldn't quite hear it. But besides that, I thoroughly enjoyed my experience with the film. I was really impressed with it, and I look forward to seeing the next part. And it's kind of rare too, the fact that it progresses the story. Usually with sequels, we're introduced to new villains, new ideas, and new things. But this felt like a real continuation on from the previous film in a really great way. And I think that was really clever on the part of the directors to do that. There's something revealed about Miles in the later part of the movie that really shows the true hero he is, and that he's up against something that he doesn't quite understand, but he has to see it through because that's the kind of hero he is. Final thoughts. In the end, it's really about accepting who you are, and sometimes you have to make the tough decisions because other people can't see what's really transpiring, and you're the one who has to stand up and be the hero even if you look like the villain, and about how far you would go to protect your family and the people you love. I'm going to give Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it and had a great time. It's probably one of the best Spider-Man sequels in my opinion. It's up there with Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Far From Home. Anyway, thanks for watching today. Hope you enjoyed this video. It's good to return to doing these videos, and I hope to do a lot more. And if you're really interested in what I've got to say, please subscribe down the bottom. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.